Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Victor and I'm here today to speak about the out of bound Venus. Why did I choose that topic for you? Well, Venus has gone out of bound on the 18th of May. And we also have got Mercury and then we've got Mars out of bound as well. And on around the 29th of May, there is going to be a Mercury and Venus conjunction, and both are out of bound. So I wanted to share a little bit of an information about what to expect and what to pay attention to with this energy. But before we actually dive into that, just a little bit of an announcement. I am going to be making a Pluto return in the US Sibley chart. So we're going to be exploring what it might possibly mean for the US. It will be live, free of charge on YouTube on the 29th of May, I believe at 2 p.m. Sofia time. But check it on my channel. Don't forget to set the reminder, and then we can be guys together online and then explore what it might mean. Now, what I also would like to actually show you, in case you don't know what a out of bound planet means, how to check that first of all in your chart. So I'm going to be sharing the screen. Basically, you can go on Astro.com and you can type in your birth data. And then once you have got that, you might want to be going on additional tables. And what you need to be looking at is actually the declination part, which I'm going to be explaining to you what it means. And what you want to be looking at, if there is any planet over 23.27 degree. So you can see that, for instance, the sun is 11. Sun never goes out of bound, by the way. But we've got moon on 21, so it's not out of bound. It must be above 23.27. And then you look at all of them and none of them are out of bound. Also, what you can do, sometimes it's very worth looking at that too. You might want to be choosing some of the major asteroids as well, because maybe you might choose Lilith, Chiron, Ceres, Pallas Athene, and Juno, and maybe Vesta, and probably not Lilith, sorry. Anyway, doesn't matter, because Lilith is not going to be going out of bound. And then you might want to be looking at if there is any of those being out of bound, because they can be very prominent as well. So we, again, scrolling through, and then none of those planets are out of bound. Now, if you have got, for instance, Sirius program, then you can also do that. And I've chosen Björk charts, who was born in 1965, November 21st, 7:50 a.m. And you might want to be going on to listing, and then you can see declination and latitude graphic display. And then eventually you will get this graph. And then if you have got any of those in purple, then those are your out of bound planets. Now you can see that she has got 3 of them actually, and she's got Mercury, Venus, and Mars. What's also interesting that this time around, these are the 3 planets which are out of bound. So I'm just wondering, if there is going to be anything happening around Björk nowadays. But anyway, so this is how you're going to be checking your out of bound planet. Now, actually, I like this graph display because it really shows to us what is a out of bound planet means. So this graph is actually indicating the equinoxes. So the spring equinox and so forth. Then we've got the summer, then the autumn, and then eventually the winter. And this is basically the sun's path. this is how he is going. So on the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere and so forth. And he always reaches kind of like a peak, the highest kind of point and the lowest kind of point as well. And if any of those planets somehow get out of the path of the sun, that's what we're going to call as out-of-bound planets. So I hope that kind of makes sense for everyone. I've noticed that out-of-bound planets are extremely important in our chart because it always has got a very Uranian quality. But so what we said was Venus has just gone out of bound on the 18th of May. And actually, she rarely goes out of bound. But when she does, kind of like the Venusian topics get a little bit of an Aquarian flavor. And Venus will stay out of bound till the 23rd of June. So it's almost going to be more than a little bit of a month period. And Venus is like, you know, when she goes out of bound, as I said, it has got that very unique quality to it. It's very much about that you get out of your comfort zone. It's going to be about being extreme. So you might want to be looking at where Venus is, or by transit, and also what Venus rules in your chart as well, because those areas of life can really go kind of wacky in a sense. So now I would like to mention that the declination is not actually the same thing as the degree of the planets, which you can see in your chart next to it. So for instance, if you have got Venus on, let's say, I've got my Venus on 9 degrees of Pisces, that's more about the longitude. The declination is more to do with the latitude of the planets. Okay, so that's very, very, very important. So with the out-of-bound planet, the planet is actually going beyond the sun, and it completely acts differently, because imagine that you are as a child and your parents leave you at home. Well, probably you're going to be a little bit of a naughty one, right? So because there are no rules around you. So it's very much about being very eccentric. Or I give you another example. Imagine that, for instance, you are, let's say you are swimming, and then, you know, there is all these big like waves come in as a child, and then you want to be jumping into them and so forth. And your parents would tell you not to do that because it's dangerous. However, when their parents are not around, you definitely are going to be trying your luck. So it's like going out of bound in a sense means that you've got kind of like a fixed lane. And then you don't really care about the boundaries. You don't really care about the rules. You kind of just say that, well, I am all detached from the rules. I don't want to be following those. So it's breaking the rules. That's going to be one of the major significant meaning of out-of-bound planets. Because there is also a saying in Hungarian, when the cat is not at home, the mice are laughing. And that's the kind of Uranian flavor to this type of energy. So it's very much about having like a Venus and Uranus conjunction in your chart, meaning that you might not want to be reading, for instance, every single Venusian energy in your chart accordingly. What do I mean by that is that, for instance, imagine that you've got Venus in Cancer. And Venus in Cancer is quite shy, and it's very family orientated. It finds pleasure of being together with the family. However, when Venus is out of bound in the sign of Cancer, well, that person is not going to be shy whatsoever. And that person is not going to be sticking around the family very quickly, because it kind of wants to break away. It wants its freedom. Venus is also about your personal style. So you might be saying that Venus in Capricorn is very like traditional, and it's going to be conservative when it comes to their likes and dislikes in regards to fashion. Well, if it's an out of bound Venus, definitely it's not going to be that tradition orientated. So, but of course, Venus, apart from that, it does talk about something to do with your relationships. So your relationships can be quite unusual. Probably this Venus wouldn't necessarily be so much about taboos and conventions. It's just going to be kind of trusting their gut feelings. It's going after what their heart desire is. And typically, if Venus is out of bound in your chart, those people tend to be having multiple marriages, or even long distance relationships, or on and off relationships. That's also very much a Venus out of bound energy. Or I give you another example is, for instance, as I showed you Björk's chart beforehand, well, her Venus is actually in the sign of Capricorn. And as I said, it's out of bound. Now, we can say everything about, Björk, how traditional she is, but when you check her pictures online, you will be seeing pink hair with baby blue t-shirt and I don't know, ripped jeans and, all those type of stuff. So she was everything but a traditional person when it comes to their sense of style. So this month, as I said, we are having kind of a record number of out of bound planets. We had Moon recently on the 15th, 16th, and the 17th. Then Venus went out of bound on the 18th, and Mars has been out of bound for a while. So I would like to share one of my personal examples with that. Mars is transiting currently my 5th house. And as I said, when a planet is out of bound and it's transiting one of your houses, you can really go extremes in that department, or you can go extremes in related to those houses, whatever the planet rules. And I went to the gym the other day and I started thinking how much motivation I've got to be on the treadmill. And I ran actually 65 minutes. And I was quite proud of myself. And then I started thinking, oh my days, actually, Mars is out of bound in my 5th house, which is the house of sport. And out of bound planet can be very depleting, or it could be energizing you significantly. So, and then I started gym like a month ago. I could do only 10 minutes on the treadmill, and I did an hour of weights and stuff like that. And now I've kind of increased it to 65 minutes. So today I'm planning to go, and hopefully I can do 90 minutes. And I started wondering, can I not keep this Mars forever somewhere around my 5th house, so that finally I can sort my body out. So this is the type of energy these out-of-bound planets might bring. And I feel like that 29th of May might be very, very significant, because Mercury is going to be stationing retrograde. So imagine that a planet is standing and then it's full of Uranian energy, which is kind of coming like a lightning bolt, right? So Mercury is going to be extremely restless, in a sense that I have to be standing in one spot. That's against Mercury's nature. Mercury wants to be flying and it wants to be on the go all the time. And then Venus kind of wants to comfort Mercury, but Venus is also out of bound as well, which is very much about, you know, extreme Venusian energies. So what I would like to suggest is that pay attention to any type of indulgence, because with Venus, you can really overspend, or you can be overly romantic, or you can even, you know, have a little bit of a stronger sexual desire as well. You might want to be kind of doing a speed dating, for instance, with that Mercury and Venus conjunction, because I want everything quite quick. I would also say that if you are having a relationship, it might be a little bit more challenged in a way to first of all process your feelings, secondly to kind of have a conversation with your partner as well, because it could be very heightened energies around that. And I also would like to mention that when it comes to your personal values, you might feel that, okay, I had these values so far, and then all of a sudden I break every single code and rules of mine. So how on earth, you know, it could happen? So Venus out of bound is a extreme energy. Now, when it comes to the world, you know, Mercury is still going to be slow. So anything to do with, you know, post office or transfer, business transactions, and anything related to money could be quite challenging. And I'm just wondering what out of bound planet in the financial market will bring, because Venus rules money and Mercury rules business transactions. So I feel like there is going to be a significant change in the financial market around the 29th, probably somewhere between the 27th to the 2nd of June, while this conjunction is kind of lasting. I believe there is going to be some significant major changes. Whether it's positive or not, with these out-of-bound planets, it's kind of impossible to predict. But in my opinion, Mercury being retrograde, I feel like it's going to be a little bit more negative than positive. So you might want to be paying attention to your investments. Now, Venus, apart from your personal values, something to do with your romantic life and your spending habits, it does talk about your taste. It does talk about even friendship or the divine feminine, and something to do with women's rights as well. So it wouldn't also be a shock if women had some type of louder voice around that time. Venus does represent females in your life, especially the younger ones. So it's also very possible that you might be having some type of arguments with a younger female around yourself. Now, I would also say that Venus rules over your kidney, so the kidney can be overworking around this time. You might be having cravings for sweet food, pastries, or even you might end up getting plenty of flowers from someone, and then you are just shocked about that. So that's also very possible. Kind of like with Venus, there is always like a spoil alert going on. I want to be indulging into something. So when Venus is out of bound, we're going to have to look at things in moderation as well. So pretty much, I feel like we mentioned everything. Oh, and then with the Mercury Venus, which tend to be quite a artistic type of flavor, it is also very possible that you might be craving to go to the museum, for instance, or you do something artistic, or you might want to be writing songs, or you end up singing and humming along all day, and then you kind of never do that. So a little bit like a, you know, some type of uncomfortable situation also it could come with this Venus out of bound energy. So thank you very much for being here. I hope this video helps. And if you like the video, don't forget to press like and share the video and ring the notification bell and all those lovely things. So take care of yourself and see you very shortly. Bye-bye.